All right, I got an update on these 714 heads I mentioned in another video. I'm not completely done with them yet, but I'm getting pretty close to where I want them to be. So, I guess I'll start out with these were the flow numbers out of the box. They were basically flowing 185, and I've got them to where I'm pretty well satisfied with. I don't think I'm going to get much more out of it with. I think the push rod pinch is what's got me right now. And with what I want to do, I think I'm basically just where I'm going to stay. But I've got them up, see, they're up 14 at 100, 35 at 200, 44 at 300, and we're up 25 at 400. And we're up, let's see here, 25 again at 500. 600 is up 40. And then 700, which is completely impractical for a 318 head, but that's where I'm hitting the guide at. They're actually still climbing just a little bit, but I'm hitting the guide, so I didn't even check that one on my first test, but they're up around 230. And where I'm at on them now, like I said, I haven't done any polishing yet, but what I've been working on for the time being, and I was going to kind of point some of this stuff out, is working on the de-shrouding. And as you can see how shrouded they are from the factory and how that's opened up. And I made a little float ball instead of buying one, but if you've ever watched any videos on David Bizard, he basically at a 1/4 inch lift, which is roughly what this is set at, you should be able to put a 1/4 inch check ball and pull it out from around the valve all the way around it. And I'm basically good to go, except from about here, where I got a little Sharpie mark, to about here. And then the way he does it, you're supposed to go on up to at 5/16 lifts, you should have 5/16 clearance. At 3/8, 3/8. It gives you a target to shoot for. But I feel like if I had I'm keeping this for a 318, and if I had a 4-inch bore, I think I could take this on out far enough to go ahead and get me all the way around the valve. But for the most part, it's opened up, you know, basically half the valve to flow air now, because this is just like captured right here. And it shows that in the low lift numbers, going from being up 14 early and then up nearly 40 in through here. And I did some work on the chamber, and that you can see, or did more shrouding. This was like just basic, just quick and dirty, like I did here, and just knocked it down. But once I did the flow ball, I got another 5, 2 to 5 in throughout there, but it didn't change peak at all. And it goes to show you where, once you hit, I forget what it is, what is it? 0.25 times the diameter of the valve. Essentially, the valve isn't the restriction anymore, or something like that. They said it's no longer shrouded. That's where shrouding is not part of the problem anymore. But I was just going to show you that's another neat, or kind of something I'm just now starting to play with. I'm trying to learn how to not just take a grinder to it with no plan and kind of have a system. But I'll show you the port. Again, I haven't polished anything, so. But basically where I'm at is knocking that guide down mostly. If I can get a little bit of the glare off of there. Getting rid of that is a huge help. And then widening the bowl, and I'm staying with a 178 valve. So I don't know that I'm at the limit of the valve. I really think the push rod pinch is my limit. I'll show you that in a second. But here's the gist of the port. It's really not a bad shot at the valve. You can see a lot of the valve as far as line of sight goes, but I don't have the best lighting. But also through this process, I am messing with pouring molds of the runner. And this is on the right is the before, and this is the after. And that allowed me to go in there and take cross-section measurements accurately instead of just kind of guessing. And it really shows me right now, this is the smallest part of the port, and I can't take that any farther. So I'm kind of, like I said, I'm where I'm at. I think I think if I went to a bigger valve, that possibly it would peak a little bit earlier, so I'm gonna be able to pick up a little bit more there. But on the other heads, I ended up coming into turbulence problems on the 302 heads that I put the bigger valve in. And I wondered if it's not from hogging that out and screwing up the short turn, or the short side. So I'm staying away from that on this one. I'm pretty much happy with where they're at, but and also if you come across this, this was the tool I used to measure my thickness of my push rod pinch, and I've got it down. It's pretty close because the thickness is half that, and I'm probably under a 1/16 there, so I'm not going any farther on the pinch. I could raise it and take it up to a 340 on the roof. I don't want to lower the floor any, but there's a little bit that could be had there, and that's what I did on the 302 heads. But I think I'm just going to leave these like they are, and I'm just going to try them and see how they do. But the shrouding's been kind of interesting on this, and I feel like going to like a 202 is a complete waste because you'll never get the cross section through this port to support that big of a valve. Just drop this, I guess. Because the problem is the thickness here is, you know, you could take all of that out, maybe 80 thousandths or something like that, but that's a whole lot of work just to get that port volume in. I'm pretty good at 230 CFM. This is going on just a street deal, basically, not street strip even, but that's where I'm at on it. Like I said, it would be interesting to put a bigger valve in it and see if it goes ahead and picks up any, but I'm pretty good with the 178. I'm actually flowing more now with this 178 than I did with the 188s in the 302 head I did. So that's about it. I wanted to show my port molds and like I said, just give a little update on what's going on. I'm about done. One other thing I was going to show you was the difference in the left and the right facing ports. I did some marking here yesterday, and my flow ball would come out. This is on the ported one. It was trapped from here to here. And on the unported one going the other way, it actually got up farther. And I was looking over here, and it's down there trapped in the same spot. That's also a, what would that be, a right? But so there's a difference in these. That's why you need to flow a left and a right, and I need to flow a left and a right before I get done. But just even the shrouding, you know, trying to make those the same from run or port to port. Core shift gets involved in this, and core shift from head to head on your short turn can screw stuff up, and it's all just kind of interesting to work on them a little bit and then put them on the bench and see what they've done. But I haven't done a valve job on these yet either, so. But like I said, I just wanted to post a quick update on that, and I think I'm at about 90% on my throat on this. I may take a little bit more out in the bowl, just a little bit, but for the most part, I'm pretty well calling it quits, I think, because I got to do 7 more plus the exhaust, and that's about enough. And I did start on the exhaust runner or 2. I've started working on those a little bit. I'm scared to take that full bump out of the roof. I'm not really taking anything off the floor, but there is a pretty sizable bump in the roof that water runs through, so I'm going to take that as high up as I feel safe doing, and I don't know how much I'm going to widen it since I'm leaving a small valve. I don't know that it needs a whole lot more runner area on the exhaust side. And then of course you got to I drill these and tap these to 1/4-20s to what is it, this air injection ports or whatever. So still a little bit of work left to do, but have a good one.